Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I am really excited to be here at the Account-Based Engagement Summit. Really appreciative of the invite to talk to you about a topic that is very close to my heart, intent, and how we use it as a unit of campaign measurement. My name is Hussam AlMukhtar. I'm the Senior Director of Strategic Marketing here at ZoomInfo. And to start, I wanted to talk to you through some of the items that we'll cover today, level setting about some of the concepts that we'll touch upon, the metrics that marketing leaders are using from an account-based perspective, the buyer cycle and how we engage with it, and how does intent play as a unit of measurement within this kind of environment. So to level set and start, buyer intent signals. What are these intent signals? Well, intent signals, as rudimentary as this might be, but it's a group of indicators that tells me any account that I'm targeting or I'm interested in is researching a set of relevant topics. And this is a little bit different from what we've traditionally have been used to, which is looking at our first properties, our websites, our email engagement, to imply and indicate a buyer intent into my product, because the intent signals are collected from content that is outside of my reach, content that I cannot track, like product reviews, blogs, and articles across the web. And that's important because we know that the buyer cycle and the buyer behavior in the past years have changed dramatically, and 94% of these buyers are performing some kind of an online search before they get to me and talk to me. And also we know from research that's been done by Forrester that 74% is my close rate if I were to be the first brand to reach to a decision maker. Now, this highlights the importance of intent signals. And for quite a bit in the past few years, as intent is a category within marketing services and technology, marketers have been trying to understand, well, how do I apply it within my strategies? And inherently, intent falls from it falls within an account-based perspective and application. And to start then to go and level set even more on the account-based framework or the account-based application. And it is a framework because it's a little bit of a different approach than what we have been seeing or we've implemented from a traditional demand generation perspective, that it is a framework, that it requires a coordinated effort. It requires a set strategy designed by the go-to-market cross-functional teams between sales, marketing, customer success, operations, and so on and so forth. And operations gets involved because they set up the core functions of infrastructure. What is going on? How are we tracking? How are we performing against these set of accounts? And then finally is, how do we execute? What kind of channels do we execute and use the framework through? And all of that is happening under the hypothesis that there is a higher efficiency of my effort when that effort is strategically aligned to target a set of valuable and strategic accounts. And given that framework and applying it with some tactics that are still relevant from a traditional demand generation perspective, we started seeing that the old KPIs, the old metrics that we've used for demand generation, like the MQLs, the number of leads that we've generated, number of meeting sets, are still good, but they are not necessarily indicative of how well am I progressing against this effort, given the hypothesis that I have a better efficiency. And us as marketers, we've started devising a little bit of a different view to start seeing things from an account-based metric perspective. Now, all of a sudden, we stopped talking about MQLs and so on and so forth and started saying, well, do I have enough coverage? Do I have enough insights about these accounts that I'm targeting? And would these insights help me reach these accounts that I want to target? And if I am reaching them, is my content being relevant to these accounts? Are people within these accounts engaging with my content? Is it resonating with them? And more importantly, is that content being impactful for me to grow these deals, to improve my velocity and win rates? And that, when we start looking at our metrics from this perspective, we start looking at things from, we start forming a little bit of an account-based funnel that says, hey, this is the number of accounts that I am targeting. And this is off of that, this is the number of accounts that I have successfully engaged with meaningfully. And this is the set of accounts that does have opportunities that I was able to penetrate. And then also, this is the set of accounts that I have closed won and the activities that come with it. And in order for us to achieve these kinds of this kind of progression in the account movement from being just the targeted account to being engaged, opportunity, and closed won, we have been applying, as marketers, we have been applying a set number of different tactics, or a number of different tactics across the buyer cycle, which leads me to the buyer cycle, which it really hasn't changed. Even though the buyer behavior has changed, we still operate as marketers in the concept that we need to make people aware of my brand and of the fact that they have a problem need solving. And then they move them to the consideration stage where they could start thinking that, hey, I need a solution to my problem, and purchase stage where I say that I am the right solution for you. And then the retention side where I need them to use it more so they could advocate for me, so it could bring the information backward, the cycle back to the awareness side. And in order for us to do this, we have been, for the longest time, employing all these different tactics across these different stages. Each of them is designed to engage with a specific set of audiences. It has a specific message as well. And the difference now is that these different tactics are no longer thinking of a single person perspective, but more from a buying committee perspective. And because of that, we have started looking at the different stages and understanding that each of these different tactics have by itself an objective set to it. For example, display advertising has an objective of driving traffic to my website. So hopefully I could generate more awareness, so I could get more conversions, so on and so forth. Social ads, they're designed and have a primary objective of generating leads, events, meaningful conversation, direct mail, incentivizing people to take meetings or to progress to the next stage, and so on and so forth. And you might pause for a second and you might say, well, Hussam, this has nothing to do with intent so far, what you're showing me. And this is something that is common knowledge. And I would say, yes, absolutely. It is common knowledge, but here's what we tend to forget, and we get wrapped up in these primary objectives, is that collectively, all of these different tactics while they do have different objectives, each of them individually, collectively, and also individually, they also have a very shared goal, which, believe it or not, is to generate awareness, is to generate intent. Because in today's buyer world, our buyers are very tech savvy, they're privacy savvy. They've found out that I am able to track them through my property, so they would go around it, and then I would, for example, lose attribution, and my campaign performance reviews then becomes a little bit discounted to what I would have otherwise influenced because of that change. So given all of this, given the fact that we do have primary objectives to each one of these campaigns, and we do focus on them, but if we only focus on these primary objectives, like how many leads did I get, how many, what's the cost per direct mail send that I have, and its efficiency, I am losing track also of how much have I moved this account in terms of their awareness of my brand, in terms of their relevancy to the cycle that they are in. And if I start thinking about intent as a unit measurement, I will start introducing this as another way for me to slice my funnel a little differently. And now I could introduce this unit of intent with no or some or high intent, and it gives me another slice for my performance, my campaign performance, and it helps me understand, well, what can I do with these different accounts and different levels in order for me to increase my spend efficiency, be more relevant to my buying center through the different messaging. And just to give an example of what this unit may look like, internally at ZoomInfo, we can take a look at it and say we have 3 different units. We have no intent, some intent, and high intent. And these are a combination of different Signal metadata. So signal count, for example, is how many times within a given period of time did an intent happen or an intent signal was collected. Signal score is how relevant, how important that signal is to me as a brand and to the keyword that is relevant. And the audience strength is how many devices have I collected the signal from. So you can see now that I apply this unit and then I apply it to my and slice my set of accounts with. It helps me then set up another view of an engagement metrics that help me understand how to trigger my campaigns, what action to take next, and improve the performance of my campaigns. For example, unengaged accounts with no intent signals, that might tell me that, hey, Hussam, you might want to take a look at this cohort of accounts and go put them in a high spend digital program. Try to generate that intent again. If I have engaged accounts with high intent, well, great. I maybe want to do an outbound campaign and try to expand my buyer center beyond just the decision maker. Now I want to go and get an influencer. If I have an account with opportunity and has some low intent, for example, I might want to put up a message that says, procurement, I am the right person for you. I am the right solution. Hey, legal, we have compliance with so and so and so laws, and so on and so forth. And it helps me take my campaigns up a notch and improve my efficiency, because now with this kind of matrix and the way that I am slicing my accounts, slicing my targets, organizing the messages and the campaign execution around these different slices helps me get a lot more relevant. And we know that with relevancy, my efficiency for the spend and the campaign is going to increase. So generally speaking, in summary, and that's to keep it short for you guys, intent has been used for quite a bit of time to trigger marketing campaigns. It's kind of like the lowest hanging fruit. And now we're getting into the space where sellers are using intent to understand better about to understand their accounts better, to get more intelligence on what's happening within their accounts. And then our next step in terms of utilizing intent as a unit, as a technology, is to help measure campaign influence so I could actually repeat the cycle. Because once I understand where my influence is looking from a campaign perspective, I could move my triggered campaigns in a little bit of more effective way. Well, this is all the time that I've had. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name is Hussam. I'm the Senior Director of Strategic Marketing at ZoomInfo. Have a good one.